Second, let me
Great.
just click record. I'm having a few issues with my camera at the moment, so that's the only reason I've not got it on before I say. Yeah, so hopefully everyone's on. But yeah, so the purpose of today's call is to go through the CMS with you. The CMS is basically the content management system, and that's the area where we would upload all of the various different bits of information that go into your platform. So that can be the agenda, speakers, or the exhibitors. And what this call will actually enable you guys to do is to make any sort of small edits or changes that you can in the back end. What I will do after this call as well, I will send you across, probably Tina, the link, the CMS link and your login details as well. So then you can actually log into the platform and then actually sort of have a play around in the system as well, okay?
Excellent.
The first thing I'm going to do actually is share my screen with you, so hopefully you can actually see this. Can everyone see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant.
Yes.
So the first thing you'll see when you actually log into the platform is this screen here, and this is just the dashboard. So if you click on one of the tabs here that says Future Apps, and then we're going to click on your event here, so AITL SA, and you want to click Open in the CMS. Now, the first screen you actually see here, this is just the dashboard just for your particular event. And what I'm going to draw your attention to is actually the left-hand menu here. So what we've sort of done is broken up different features into different sections. So if I open up, for example, app content, you'll see a few different features such as documents or maps. If I open up interactive features, you'll see things like surveys and the activity feed. Or if I open up the event features, you'll see things like the agenda, attendees, exhibitors. One thing I will say though is I'm probably not going to go through every single feature on here, and not every single feature is obviously used in correlation to your app. So I'm just going to go through the main features which I think are relevant to you and that sort of important to your event. So things like the agenda, exhibitors and speakers, for instance. If I just scroll slightly up, on the top left here, you'll see a button that says Show My Web App Link. If you click on this button and click Copy My Web App Link, and then actually open this in a new tab, this is actually the preview of your actual web app. So any changes that you do make in the back end, in the CMS, you can actually then click on this button and then preview those changes in here. Because every change you make is actually live. So if you change, for example, an agenda session, that will automatically be updated in the web app itself. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, brilliant. I'm just going to first start off on the attendee feature. So on the left-hand menu here, scroll down, click on Event Features, and then click on Attendees. What you'll see now, if I scroll slightly down, you'll see a full list of all of the attendees who are currently in the app, and all of these attendees here can actually log in with their email and whatever their unique password is, for instance. What this section is sort of good for is, for instance, if you need to edit or update any of the information for a particular attendee. So let's say an attendee has forgotten their password and they've emailed you and said, I've forgotten my password, can we please update it? This is where you would do that. So if you look here, we've got an attendee called Jack. If you move to the right where it says edit or delete and click on profile. So click on profile, then you click edit profile. And then you see this section here, we've got some of the information just to do with this particular attendee. So for instance, you've got first name, last name, title, company name, and we also have email and password. So if you want to update an attendee's password, you just type the password in this section and in the confirm password section. And then when you've made any changes to this attendee profile, just click update, and that information will then be automatically updated for that particular attendee in the system. I'm just going to go back now. So after you've clicked update, this page will then pop up again. If for whatever reason, let's say an attendee isn't in the system, they've not registered or they've not been uploaded, you can also actually add a new attendee into the system as well. So if you go and click on attendees at the top here, and then click add attendee without inviting, you can now add this new attendee in. So if you put first name, last name, their email, and then whatever password you want to set up for them, and then click add. That attendee will then actually be added into the attendee section as well. And that attendee can also log in with whatever email and password you've just set up. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
I do, yes, but I have a question about that. For password resets, are we expected to manage that on our own, or is that something that they could also just click on the help button and somebody on your side would take care of that?
I'm not 100% sure as in how your event's working, because usually we might have one here actually. Let me just look, because we usually have a support@allinatheloop email. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Right, right. That's my question. Is it better to just do that, or should we plan to manage that?
We will manage this. It's just in case someone, I don't know, contacts you and you want to know how to do that. That's why I was showing you there. But we actually have a team of people on the support email. So any questions, or I don't know, let's say an attendee can't log in, for instance, they would just contact this email here, and then we've got people to help them out on our side.
And then there also, Jordan, there is like a forgot my password option for them to choose as well, right? Where they can actually reset their own password.
Yes, that's correct. That's if when an attendee is actually logging in, there's that option on the login screen. It will say forgot password, and you click on that, and then it gives you the option to actually reset your password as well. Okay. So I'm just going to move on to another feature now, actually. So I'm just going to move on to speakers. So again, go to event features and go to speakers. So I think we've got quite a few speakers in here currently. So if I just go onto the speaker section now, you'll see, again, it's a very similar layout. We've got a full list of all the speakers who are currently in here now. The difference being between this section and the attendee section is all of this speaker information is actually static information. So if you're a speaker and you're broadcasting at a session, you're logging in as an attendee in the attendee section. So you log in with your email and password. This information that I'm showing you now is all just static and all information that we're just putting into the system, okay? So if you have a look here, we've got the full list of speakers. If you need to, for example, edit any speaker information, so you might want to add a job title or company, or I don't know, you notice a spelling mistake on their name, for instance. If you click the edit button, again, on the right-hand side, it loads. And then what you want to do is click next step. And then you see here, we've got some information. So we've got the company, organization, or title. So if you need to update that, you can do by just typing in the box. If you need to update, for instance, the biography of this particular speaker, that is actually in this section here. So again, you can type in the box if you want to. You can also add links as well. But to add links, or URL links, if you highlight some text, so if, for example, if you highlight this text, then what you want to do is click off the text or off the side of the box and click the link button. You can then add a link if you need to, or if this is missing. So if you add the link in, click insert link, then that link will then be added. Once you have made that change, just click next step. If, for instance, as well, they're missing a profile image, speaker profile image, you need to add that in. All that is a 500 by 500 pixel JPEG image, and that's just uploaded into here. So if you click select image, find the image you're uploading, and then click next step, then that information will actually be saved. If, for instance, they're missing maybe, I don't know, a LinkedIn profile you want to add in, that's added in this section here. So once you've added that in, just click next step, and then just click finish. And again, I would highly recommend clicking on this blue button on the top left and then just actually checking that the change you've just made is actually correct. There's sort of a good comparison, really. I'm just going to go back again to speakers. If for instance, for whatever reason, a speaker isn't actually in the system, so maybe you've missed them off, or I don't know, you haven't sent them across to us, you can also actually add a new speaker as well. So if I click add data and then click add speaker, you can then add a speaker. It works a little bit differently for this section. So if you put the first name, last name in, they don't need an email address, but they do need a password if you're adding a speaker in. So you put the password in, and then when you click next step, it's exactly the same process as that I showed you before, where you're editing the speaker. So again, if you want to edit the job title or company or add a profile image, that's where you would do that. And when you've clicked finish, so again, same process as before, click finish, that speaker will then actually be added into the system. Does that all make sense on the speaker feature?
Yes, but Jordan, I do have a question about whether they have a different login if they're a speaker then. So I see, I just asked them to add Matt to the list, and I noticed that he has,
Okay.
it looks like appears like a speaker profile, like email. So
Yes.
does he need to be logging in with that email address?
No, he will log in with his actual attendee login. The reason there's an email here, because basically whoever's added this speaker, in the section I just showed you then where I said only add a password, they've actually put an email in. So this is just kind of a generic email just so they could actually be put into the system.
Okay. So they can log in with their normal email and like in the password, does the password have to be specific? Like, is there a specific password for just the speakers or no?
I'm not 100% sure on that, to be honest, because usually we either have, I mean, have the registrants been uploaded through a registration platform? Or
We did an import. Okay. We did an import, yeah.
Well, any questions like that, I'm probably going to write down. I'm probably going to have to get back to you or go through that with Lawrence, because usually for particular events, we might have sort of a generic password, which speakers might be able to log in with.
Right. I thought he was sick. I think he said he was going to get us a speaker password, because in the template that I completed, it had a column for password.
Okay, yeah, I can follow up with Lawrence on that. And it sounds like there's a sort of a generic speaker password that they would actually use, in which case that would be fine, because then they'd just log in with their email, their email that they registered with or is in the attendee section, and then their generic password as well. Okay,
and it's in this section, this just doesn't show their email, because I did have emails that I sent over. Is that correct?
Those emails that you sent over for any speakers would have been uploaded with the rest of the attendees.
Okay, so then the attendee section, it wouldn't be in this.
No. So this is just this is just static info. They're not logging in with any email or anything like that. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
No worries. I'm just going to move on to exhibitors now. I've actually been doing a little bit of work on exhibitors today. So if I just go to sponsors, for instance, I think one of the tasks that was sent across was to put in surveys into each exhibitor booth.
Yeah.
Let me just click on there. So you can see here, hopefully you can see, I might have to zoom in a bit. I've actually added in all the survey buttons into the exhibitor booth that you sent across. So if you click on answer survey, then the actual survey will then pop up onto the screen. So that's been done. I'm just going to show you actually the CMS side now. So on the left-hand menu, if you click event features and then exhibitors, again, you'll see a full list of all the exhibitors that have actually been uploaded into the system. To actually make an edit or change to a particular exhibitor, if you click on the blue edit content button on the right hand side under edit profile, so I'm going to click on that now, then this actually opens up the page just to do with this particular exhibitor. So if you see here, for instance, we've got areas such as the company name. If I scroll slightly down, you've got exhibitor type. We've actually set these up. So exhibitor type is just the so on the exhibitor list, you have all the different sections like gold, silver, bronze, platinum. That's all that is. So you see here, we've got platinum, gold. So this particular exhibitor is a silver one. So if you need to change that, or maybe that's been updated, if you just click on this area here, it actually opens up a drop-down list of all the different exhibitor types that we currently have. If I scroll slightly down again, you'll actually see the description section. So all the description section is the section on the actual booth itself in the middle. So if you need to make any edits or changes to this area here, this is where you do that. So for example, if you need to change the text or edit it, you can do that here. So you can add text, you can add links. So we've got the website here, which is just a URL link. So if I click on that and then click link, and then what you can put your link into this section here, and you've got the link in there, click insert link, and then that website link will actually link on the booth itself. So when you click visit view website, then that will open up their particular website. If I scroll slightly down again, there's a section here that says link attendees as representatives. So those guys there, we've got 3 here, for example. So we've got 3 exhibitor reps. So these reps you can actually book a meeting with, video call or message. So they've been added into this booth in this section here. So all these guys are attendees. So we've got our list of attendees in that section. If you click on here, if you can see all the attendees that we have. So if for whatever reason an exhibitor's missing an attendee rep and you need to add them in, you will find them in this list here. And when you click on an attendee, it would actually add them here. If you want to delete one out, just click on the X icon here, just to delete them out. I'm just going to scroll again slightly to the bottom of the page. So for instance, if an exhibitor is missing a company logo or a banner, because I was checking through some of the exhibitors before and I noticed some were missing banners, for instance. This is where you would add them. So the company logo, all that is a 500 by 500 pixel JPEG image, or it can actually be a perfect square. So that's just a JPEG image. The banner image is 3000 pixels by width by 800 pixels height. And that again is a JPEG image, but I can send across these dimensions again in case you've not actually got them. If you do make any changes to exhibitors, again, just make sure you click on the update button at the bottom. And again, I would recommend just going into the platform and just making sure that those changes you have made have actually been made. Oh, actually, sorry, one other section as well. So on the exhibitor booth, there's a video section here. All that video is actually the embed link for a video. So for example, when you go onto YouTube, there's an option to share the video and you can actually get the embed code from there. Similarly with Vimeo, if you have a Vimeo video that you want to upload, all you need is the Vimeo embed link. And then all you need to do is put it in this section here where it says live stream video URL. So you see here, we've got a YouTube link. If for whatever reason you don't have a video, or I don't know, you don't have a Vimeo video, you can also include their website as well. So if you get their website URL for the exhibitor and put it in this section here, that website will actually show on this section here on the right hand side instead of the video, for instance. If for whatever reason that website is blocked, because certain websites are blocked, we can also include PDFs and we can also include JPEG images as well. So if you want to include a PDF or a JPEG, just let Lawrence or myself know, and then we can actually get that uploaded into this section here, okay? I'm just going to go back slightly. So I was talking before about the exhibitor reps. So exhibitor reps, when you actually add them in, they don't show up on the top right here. They show up on the bottom left, and they don't actually have an option for video call. To add that option in and to make them show up on the top right, on the exhibitor list here, you'll see a button on the right that says attendee for call. If I click on attendee for call, you'll see the attendees we've added in as exhibitor reps. What you want to do is tick these on and click save, and then those reps will actually show up in this section here. Does that all make sense on the exhibitor section?
Yes.
So do we have to go through and do that in every case?
Yes, it would be. If you want them to be exhibitor reps and you want them to be on the top right, you'd have to do that for each individual exhibitor that's in the system.
But we likely, Kim, won't have to do any unless we're adding anybody, which we won't.
Oh, because the ones we've already done will already be in there?
Yes, those are already in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's what I was asking. Yeah.
It's all right.
Perfect.
Yeah, the vast majority of them will already be in the system. This is just,
Right.
let's say,
Okay,
let's
just if
say
we
an
have to-
exhibitor rep's missing and you need to add them in, or any of the information, you can actually add them here. So you can see here, we've got this exhibitor rep here, Lorenzo. He's actually missing his attendee profile image. So if you did, for example, want to add in an attendee profile image, you've seen it on the exhibitor booth here. You could just go into attendees, as I showed you before, and then actually add in their profile image. Okay. I'm just going to move on to another section now. So I'm going to move on to the agenda.
Wait, can I ask one more exhibitor question before you leave?
That's fine.
I don't think so you said all those questions you were working on uploading them to the our exhibit hall questions?
Oh, the surveys, the answer survey.
Yeah, the survey.
Yeah.
So are we able to extract the data of the people who respond to that?
Yes, you will be able to, but that will be, it's usually we have an analytics report that is sent over, usually a few days after the event, or actually the day after the event itself. And that analytics report will actually show who's answered the survey and how they've actually answered as well.
So we're trying to figure out, we had hoped to be able to provide that back to the vendors like the day, like at the end of each day? It doesn't sound like is that doable or no?
I can't really give you 100% yes, that's doable, because I've not actually been involved in an event previously where it's been the day of the event we provided them, but we do have that information. So when anyone answers a survey, that answer that they've answered or the statistics behind that will actually show in the CMS in the back end. So, I mean, I don't know, probably gonna have to note that down and bring it up with Lawrence to see if we can actually do that, but I can't 100% say yes, we can do that.
And that's, if it's doable, great. If not, we just need to figure out an alternative for how our vendors want to, some of our vendors want to be able to do like a drawing each day to give away a prize for somebody who visited their booth. So we're just trying to figure out the simplest way for them to know that.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And if this doesn't work, we'll figure something else out.
Okay,
And
well,
Kim, I was thinking too, one thing now that we can edit this, we probably want to go in and edit in the prizes inside of the booth, like where we can edit the text, like add that in. Like if an exhibitor is giving a prize, we probably need to have that in their booth so people know.
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll jot that down anyway and probably go through that with Lawrence in a bit more detail just to actually check we can do that. But
yeah, just let us know what the options are and we'll work around it. I don't, it's getting late in the process. We don't need to upend everything. We just need to be able to tell our vendors how to go about doing a drawing.
Okay, no worries. Yes.
Yeah, and they might want to use some of the analytics too to set up calls with the attendees.
Yeah, yes, that makes sense. I'm just going to probably move on to the agenda section now. So I've gone through attendees, exhibitors, speakers, now onto the agenda. So again, it's under event features. If you then click on agenda, and then what you want to do, you see all the tabs at the top here, you want to click agenda list. And we see here, we've got your agenda here, and it's got 84 sessions in it currently. If you then click on the, again, blue edit button on the right-hand side, what you'll see then is a full list of all the various different sessions that are actually in this particular agenda. And if you see here, it says, for instance, the session name, the speaker name, the end date, for instance. And then what you want to do is click the blue edit button again. And then what that'll do is actually open up the page just for this particular agenda session, okay? So if you see here, for instance, we've got the start date, end time, the end time, end date. So if you click on here, you can change this. So let's say an agenda session time changes, which obviously with a lot of events that happen, especially virtual events, you do that here. So start time, you can just type in the actual time itself. Section. You might need to edit the name of the session, for instance. You do that here. So type, change the name. If you need to edit the description, it's just on the right-hand side here. So that's just type. So again, just type in what you need to, or maybe you need to edit the actual text itself. You do that here. I'm just going to scroll slightly down again. So in this section here, session types. So if I go back to the actual program itself, just to show you what I mean with this. So if I just click on program. So you see here, we've got the full list of sessions, which are actually sorted by date. And these blue buttons here are actually the session types. So we've got like main session, keynote. On this section here, session type, if you just click on this, you can actually select a session type that we have in the system. So if a session's missing a type, I need to add that in, this is where you do that. So if you just click on one of them, so this one, for instance, that actually adds it into the type section. I'm just going to scroll slightly down. So on this section here that says link your session, there's a section that says select speakers. So all of the speakers, i.e. all the static information that we added in previously, you can actually then attach that speaker to a session. So if I click on opening keynote, for instance, so you see the section at the bottom here, it says Mary Kelly is a speaker. That's all that is. So when you've attached in this section, you've selected a speaker, that speaker will then show in the session itself in this section here. Again, that's just static information. If I scroll slightly down again, so you see, for instance, here we've got the video section. and we've got a assigned broadcast attendees. So just out of clarity, actually, are all your sessions going to be live broadcast?
No.
Okay, no worries. So just for this session then in particular, so it looks like this one is going to be a live stream, and this one is going to be a broadcaster. So this broadcaster here, or this speaker, will actually log in with their login credentials and then actually go into the session and start broadcasting. If there are some sessions, for instance, where they are broadcasting, you need to add them in, this is where you do it. So as I was saying before, the speakers, we've got them in as attendees. If you click here, you can then select that particular speaker, or if you see attendee, click them in, and then they're added to the system. Once that has actually been added in, or let's say you've changed the date or the description or any of this information here, scroll down to the bottom and click update, and then that information will actually update in the front end as well. And again, just make sure you actually check in the front end just to make sure that information is actually correct. Does that all make sense on the agenda side of things?
Yep. So if we have, let's say, and I think Lawrence is going to be doing this for us, but if we needed to do it, if we want to add a staff member to participate in a live broadcast, we would just do it the same way you just showed us. We would just add one of us to that session to participate in the live broadcast.
Yes. So if there were a new staff member and they're not in the system, let's say, first you go to attendees and you click add new attendee and you put them in the system, and then you would just repeat what I've just gone through then. So you'd look for the session, scroll down to the video section on the right hand side of the session, and then just add them in as the broadcast attendee, and then that attendee you just added can actually have the option to broadcast during a session itself.
Okay. And how many can we have at one time again? Can we have up to 6?
Yes, it's up to 6 for each session.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, other than that, really, I think they're sort of the main features that you're going to need to edit and use. I mean, there's a few different other features, such as you've got things like win prizes. So that's gamification. So if I just click on that on the front end, so a lot of this information here is just, again, static text. So I'll show you where you can actually edit this. So if you need to edit any of this information here, what you need to do is on the left-hand menu here, if you click on interactive features and then click gamification, and then what you want to do is click header content. So if you see here on this first page, we've got all the various points that you can actually award to users. So for instance, request a meeting, you get 15 points, or answer a survey, you get 10 points. That text that I was showing you here, to edit that, you go to header content, and then that's the text here in this section. So you see here all this text here. If you want to edit this or change this at any point, you can actually do that.
We don't want to change it.
Is this the final one?
We've changed it 6 times. So yes, we are done with that.
All right, no changing this then. All right, ignore changing this then, but just in case it's in this section here anyway. Yeah, I mean, other than that, they're sort of the main features and main areas which I would say for you guys, if you wanted to edit, change, or upload anything, they're the main sort of 4 or 5 features that I would recommend actually using. In terms of content as well, because I have actually been working a little bit on your app today. So if I just click on the home screen, as I was saying, I've added in those surveys. All those surveys are in the agenda sessions, but I actually edited the question. So it said, I think it was answer something like 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. That's been done.
Yep. Good. Perfect.
Also, if I just click on exhibit hall as well. So this has been added in, and these exhibitors have actually been linked as well. So if I click on Surdex, for instance, and then I click on the logo here, it should take me to the, there we go, the Surdex exhibitor booth profile. So that's been done as well. And also, I think this is just being worked on currently on the home screen. There's some logos here at the bottom, and these are currently being linked to the exhibitor booth as well. So if I click on that one here, this should link to an exhibitor booth as well. Yeah, there we go.
Great.
So, I mean, in terms of my view, it looks like your web app and platform is actually coming along quite well. How are you? How is everything sort of with preparation for your event?
We're getting there.
I have a question about in the session, the survey that you were just referencing that will be at the end of each session, a ranking 1 to 5. At what point will that display, and can we manually trigger it? Because we want that to be at the very end, and that'll vary from session to session depending on how long the Q&A goes, how long the speaker talks, etc.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think currently they're actually in the session themselves now, but we do have an option on the survey section to actually have a release time for when you actually want them released.
We want it to be able, we want to manually, whatever staff person is kind of overseeing that session, we want him or her to be able to trigger it when it's actually done.
Okay, let me just.
This session doesn't have one, I don't think, a question, this opening.
Yeah, so what will happen is when you actually go into this session, you'll see the banner that I created, and that'll actually just show up in this section here. So it'll be a long sort of wide banner that goes from there to there. And if you click on that banner, it'll actually open up the survey itself. On your point about sort of your staff members or yourself releasing that survey at a particular time, we do have a release time on the survey itself. However, I'm not 100% whether we can actually do that on the session itself, because the difference between a normal survey and this survey is actually in as a advert banner. So what's happened is I've put a advert banner into this section and then link that banner out. So again, I'm probably going to have to, I'll write this down again and go through this with Lawrence, and is it John who you're talking to as well?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll go
So
to
I guess here in order of preference is what we need to have happen. If we can manually trigger it, meaning the staff person sitting in on each session, if they can do that, that's probably our number one. If that isn't going to work, then we need to set it at a very specific time every time. And it can't be in the middle of the session. It would have to be at the end of 50 minutes in each session.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Either one of those will work. And like this session doesn't have a survey, I don't think.
No, not this. I'm just trying to look for example to show you.
Yeah, so any of the others, almost any other session is going to have this. So we could live with that either way. And if it's easier for you guys to set a very specific time, but just note that it has to be at the exact end time, not before and not after. It would have to be 50 minutes into the session. So when it says this ends, like the one that's at 1 o'clock, so it goes to 1:50, obviously. So it would need to happen right at 1:50.
Okay, yeah, I've written that down. I'll see what we can do about that. Again, I can't really give you a 100% guarantee on that because I'm not 100% sure myself, but I will follow up with John and Lawrence on that point, okay?
Yep, thank you.
I think one of the...
Are we trying to do it right when the Q&A starts, Kim?
No. The Q&A is going to be part of the 50 minutes in all likelihood, so we would only want it to come at the end of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so I've got the some of the points that you've mentioned previously in that one written down. So again, I'll go through that with Lawrence and John. But other than that, I think they're all sort of the main areas and main sort of focus. So the features I went through today were the attendees, speakers, exhibitor, and agenda. Those 4 main features are the things that if you do need to make any edits or any changes, focus on those areas because they're sort of the main areas to actually focus on. Okay. But yeah, I mean, that's it really.
Okay, excellent. Jordan, I just have one more suggestion actually, and you guys can let me know what you guys think, but I noticed like we have these banners that say, you know, how many points they can earn for answering the survey question. I almost think that maybe we need to add that in the button that's in the exhibit booth as well. So in the exhibit booth, it just says like answer this survey, or I think it's just, I can't remember. I think maybe it did just say answer the survey, but maybe if we could add answer the survey to earn 30 points, because that's how much those are worth. I don't know if you think that would be helpful for the attendee. It might be an extra thing to kind of entice them to want to answer it.
I mean, yeah, we can actually change this survey button to that if that's what you want to. I mean, it just obviously depends on what you guys want, if you actually did want to change that.
Do we want to list, you guys, you think how many points that's worth?
I don't, I wouldn't call it a
wouldn't.
front burner issue, but.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily, just because it's gonna add it up in the leaderboard anyway. Well, hopefully.
I just don't know if people, I just don't, especially if someone didn't look at the leaderboard instructions, or they didn't know, like when they go in there, they don't know how much maybe it's worth. Maybe they say, oh, it's worth 30 points, I'm going to do it.
I don't know. Maybe more than likely that when they're going in there is to try to get the points, because I think we might have stressed that enough. I don't know.
I don't care either way. I feel like we have bigger fish to fry right now.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, well, just let us know if that is something you actually want to change, and then we can get that changed for you. Okay.
Hey, Jordan, do you know if I've noticed like some of the speaker photos are missing? Are they still uploading that information? Because I sent quite a bit of photos.
Yes, I would imagine they're still uploading it. I think we've had
okay.
I think we've had 4 people working on this event.
Okay,
today.
yeah, because it was some days ago, so I was just wondering. All right.
Yeah. Okay. All right, no worries, guys. I hope I've helped you out, and I hope the CMS makes a little bit more sense for you. Anyway, I'll send across the login details. And I'll also send across this recorded Zoom session as well, just so if you want to follow back or go back through it just to check anything, then you can do. But other than that, I hope you have a good day, guys, and thanks.
Thank you,
for your time.
Jordan.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks, Jordan. Bye.
Thank you.